My husband, 32, and I, 29 female, planned a week vacation to New Orleans in the US. We, but mostly I, have been planning this for months. Back in March, I told him I would plan most of it, where to go and what to do. All he had to do was make sure he had the week off and buy the plane tickets. I spent the last few months researching what to do. I booked the hotel room, made reservations at places we wanted to try, and made a list of all the sites I wanted to see. Every few weeks, I would check in with my husband to see if he had asked off and bought the tickets yet. He would say he was waiting for the plane ticket prices to drop. 3 weeks ago, I reminded him again, and he said he had gotten off work for the days, but had forgotten to get the tickets. He looked online, and the tickets were close to $1,500 a ticket. He said he would wait some more to see if they would go down. Last week, I asked if he had bought them again, and he said no. We looked again and the prices were still high. He said he wasn't willing to spend that much on them and asked how much money I would lose if I canceled everything instead. He offered to have a nice staycation instead. I told him I was unwilling to cancel everything because I spent so much time planning it. We argued, and we didn't come to a conclusion. I wound up just buying one ticket for myself, and when I flew out on Saturday, I told him I was still going, and he acted all surprised that I didn't want to stay home with him. I'm in New Orleans now, and he's blowing up my phone, saying I'm an idiot for still going without him. He was trying to get a ticket to come too, but I told him he'd get his own hotel room if he came, because this is now my vacation away from him. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I don't know your husband's deal, but he acted like an idiot. I don't know if he deliberately sabotaged the trip or just didn't care enough to follow through on his tiny piece of things. Still, you were absolutely right to not let him ruin the trip for you, and he sure as heck shouldn't be booking an expensive plane ticket to join you now. I hope he'll be ready with a massive apology when you get home. This reeks of intentional sabotage. It also looks like they have some separate finances, so he was willing to throw OP's money at the wind so he could save the plane tickets money. In my honest opinion, he didn't want to go to begin with, and instead of communicating, he came up with this insane plan. Good for OP for going no matter what. I wonder if this is a common occurrence in their marriage. I agree. OP, shut your phone off. And if there are people you must have contact you, get a burner phone and share the number with those couple of people. He doesn't get to ruin this after basically destroying it. Although I am curious why you didn't buy the tickets. No blame. I get the principle of it. And ultimately, this is his, not yours. Go have fun, sis. Dude, she can block him temporarily or use Do Not Disturb and then make a whitelist that can go through. No need to run out and buy another phone. The one thing OP should not do, as I'm sure her dear husband will demand she does, is apologize for going on the vacation she planned, at the date she planned, by herself, as hubby didn't bother to follow through on buying plane tickets. OP, that was weaponized incompetence, trying to manipulate you into canceling the vacation because he didn't want to go. Good on you for going anyway and not playing his passive-aggressive BS game. My wife, 26, and I, 27 female, moved to a new house. We thought we'd throw a dinner party and invite both sides of our families. We used to live in a different state for 5 years, and now's our opportunity to catch up with our loved ones. My brother-in-law has 2 kids, Daniel, male kindergartner, and Rosie, female toddler. These kids were absolutely horrible during the entire dinner, and their parents didn't say a single word, or even try to control them, just to name a few examples. They moved pillows from sofas and chairs, spilled drinks and food on different surfaces, threw an orange on my Persian carpet, sat on it, made it explode, and spread the orange on the carpet with their hands, broke 2 glasses, and overall ran around shouting and screaming. I was the youngest in the family, and I didn't see kids much my entire life, but this horrified me, and I was so angry at my brother-in-law and his wife for just watching their kids do these things and not saying anything. I told my wife to talk to her brother, She was as angry as I was. However, she said she already talked to him, but he said they were just kids, and that's how kids grow up. He also said he wanted them to have a strong sense of self-confidence. While we were all saying goodbye, brother-in-law told his kids, "Now that your aunties live by, we'll come to visit often." I said, "No, I don't think that's going to happen very soon." Brother-in-law was confused and asked why. I said, "Because we actually love the peace and comfort in our home, and these guys are a cute tsunami." This made both brother-in-law and his wife angry. He called me an entitled brat and told my wife she was a horrible host. My friends think I was too rough, so I wanted to ask, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. These guys are a cute tsunami? That is hands down the nicest way of saying, your kids are a handful, and I don't want them in my house, that I've ever heard. I'm stealing that. You do not have to put up with children who have not been taught any manners or discipline. That's incredibly disrespectful to you and your wife, not to mention teaching kids to be inconsiderate. I would tell them that they were invited when they were taught manners. My parents would be horrified if I were to go to someone's house and destroy their property. Send them the cleaning bill. Let them know the next time they come back, a new bill may be given. I would be mortified if my kids did this at my siblings' place. Calling you a brat is rich, coming from your brother-in-law. You don't need to destroy things to gain a strong sense of self-confidence. What a load of BS. Strong sense of self-confidence equals entitlement. Children need boundaries and positive support. Letting them run wild is not good for their academic life or career. Your brother-in-law and wife are absolutely doing zero parenting. Honestly, I would have sent them a bill for a new Persian carpet too. She's my fiancée right now, but our argument is that once we're married, she wants her name on the house deed. Years ago, I bought several acres as soon as I could afford it. Back then, it was part of a ranch surrounded by other ranches. The owner needed the money, so he parceled out this section and sold it to me. I built a small house on it and have lived in it ever since. Since it was initially part of a ranch, I did enough to legally keep it classified as a ranch, so the property tax is extremely low. Over the years, companies moved to the neighboring big city and land prices increased. Almost all the ranchers sold their lands to developers, so now huge houses surround mine. They start from $500,000 and go to several million. None of them sit on even an acre of land. My house is clearly the worst around, and I have no doubt it's bringing the value of nearby houses down. That all happened before I met and dated my fiancé. Now that we're engaged, we're talking seriously about our finances, and the only sticking point is the house. She wants her name on the deed once we're married because we'll share our lives. Alternatively, she wants me to sell the house and we purchase a home together. I don't find either option attractive. In our state, we take out whatever we bring to the marriage. Since I'll be bringing the house into the marriage, I can leave with it should things not work out. If I put her name on it, then she'll get half. If I sell the house, there's no way I'll be able to afford anything even close to what I have now. Not to mention, our property tax will be several times higher. Then there's the drive time. My house is 30 minutes away from my work and 40 from hers. House prices have increased so much that we'll have to move at least an hour away from our jobs. Like I said, we agreed with or compromised on everything else. This issue is the only sticking point, and it's becoming big. So much so that she brought her family into it. This weekend, her father took me to dinner for a man-to-man talk. He told me that if we join our lives, we must join everything. He expects me to do the right thing if I want to join their family. So now it's her entire family on one side and me by myself on the other. Am I wrong to want to keep the house I built to myself? Edit. I'm comfortable with us living in my house and paying all the taxes and maintenance myself. Also, if I sell the land, I don't want to buy any new house outright with that money. We went to see a real estate agent because if we buy a house together, I want it to be something we can both afford. Mortgage, down payment, taxes divided equally. I would put any money I make off the sale into my retirement account. That's why I've yet to sell my land, despite many developers begging me to. Yes, some actually begged. I view it as my retirement investment. Not the idiot. The biggest red flag is how she deals with this. Instead of working it out with you, she goes to her mommy and daddy and sends flying monkeys to deal with it. This is how every issue is going to be dealt with. Every disagreement is going to be your whole family against you, every time. I don't think any of them have either your best interest or your well-being at heart. I have no doubt that if the roles were reversed, you'd be having dinner with their father, explaining how you need to do the right thing and not expect half. I'm not saying break up with her. I'm just pointing out serious red flags. The fact is, if she isn't planning on breaking up, she wouldn't need to demand half. She's planning for her post-divorce life. You should do the same. She's already planned her exit before even saying I do. Perhaps Daddy could provide his princess the money to buy into the house. If it's that important to him, he should have skin in the game too, right? OP should suggest putting off the wedding until this can be resolved. Her response will give OP an idea of her true motivations. If she cares more about being married than getting a share, she just made a foolish mistake in handling this. If not, OP is saving himself from making a huge mistake by not marrying her. Also, another man-to-man chat with Dad is required to tell him that you're marrying his daughter someday, not his family, and you'll make a decision as a couple. His input is not needed. He'll respect OP for being upfront, or he'll double down, and OP will know at least Dad is only in it for what his daughter can get. I, female 44, live with my husband 47. We have 2 adult children who don't live with us anymore. 5 years ago, my mother-in-law, 83, got weaker and older and moved in with us too. 2 years ago, mother-in-law was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. She's under medical care, of course, but the condition is progressing quickly despite it. Nowadays, mother-in-law cannot stay home alone, as she's dangerous for herself and her surroundings. She almost burned down the house twice, and there were other accidents. Fortunately, as for now, she didn't hurt herself seriously, but at this rate, the question is when it'll happen, not if. Taking care of her is primarily my responsibility, as my husband has a very irregular schedule, and because of his work, he often has to be on call and/or leave home at short notice. As for me, I usually work 8 to 10-hour days, mostly from home, but sometimes I have to be in the office. After I finish work, I take care of the house and mother-in-law. My husband helps me as much as possible, but he often can't be there for me. I'll be honest, I never was a caretaker type. I don't have enough patience. I don't like when other people depend on me, and I'm nervous when I suddenly have to adjust my plans. I cared about my children, obviously, and I like to believe I was a decent mother. But honestly, I have much better contact with them, and as bad as it sounds, loved them more since they grew up and got more independent. The more my mother-in-law needs my help, the more I grow impatient, exhausted, and burned out. I do my best not to show it, but the situation really wears on me. And I know that with time, she'll need even more attention and patience. Admittedly, given that I cannot always work from home, and mother-in-law can't be alone, I have constant problems at work, which upsets me, as I cherish my work and career. Given everything, I want to put my mother-in-law into a nursing home. Obviously, before I do so, I'll research and choose one with a good reputation and qualified staff. My husband has mixed feelings about it, which is understandable as she is his mother. Still, he says that given that I'm primarily taking care of her, the final decision is mine. The problem is that my husband's siblings are having a fit, calling me and my husband, but mostly me, cruel and undependable. They say I should hire a nurse or something. I don't want to let a stranger into my house, and I don't want to be a caretaker at all. In this configuration, I'd still have to take care of mother-in-law after work. We, my husband and I, offered them that we'll pay them to either take her to live with one of them or to take care of her at our place, but they weren't interested, citing that it's too much responsibility as they have their own lives. But that's precisely why I considered the nursing home in the first place. Am I the idiot? It's too much responsibility and they have their own lives? Well, that's rich coming from them. I'm just astounded how some people can't see their hypocrisy, even when it's staring them in the face. Not the idiot, obviously. Spot on. The siblings don't want the responsibility of looking after mother-in-law, nor do they want to contribute to the expense of her being cared for somewhere. What a selfish lot they are. OP is entitled to a life, a social life, a holiday, and of course OP could also fall ill at some point and not be able to care for mother-in-law. No, it's time for mother-in-law to be somewhere she's looked after and gets the care she needs as her condition worsens. Reframe the question, am I the idiot for finding a care solution that meets my mother-in-law's needs and my family's needs? People often respond to the phrase, put in a nursing home, because it sounds like you're kenneling a dog. Alzheimer's is a complex disease that needs increasing levels of care as it progresses. Ruining your own physical and mental health to care for someone is not a normal thing to do. You need to care for yourself first. Otherwise, there could be a major incident while you are on care duty due to your own exhaustion. It was my husband's birthday yesterday, so I planned a birthday party with both of our families, which he basically missed because this meeting was overran by a lot. Our son is a toddler, and I have him in a routine, so I made sure he ate at his regular time. I didn't want to give him a load of sugar right before bed because I knew he wouldn't sleep, so I let him have some of the cake once he had finished his dinner. It's not a big deal because my son is the one who wanted to buy the cake as a present for his dad. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have gotten one, as my husband isn't a big fan of cake. My sister-in-law, my husband's brother's wife, is the one who turned this into an issue because she told me it was rude for us to cut the cake without the birthday boy. I should make my son wait since my husband would be home soon. I know my husband, and it could mean anywhere from 20 minutes to 3 hours, and I wasn't going to wait that long, so I gave my son the cake. Multiple people told me I shouldn't have done it after my sister-in-law spoke up, and I'll be honest, they were getting under my skin, since why should my son miss out on the cake because his dad is late? My husband came home over an hour later, and when he saw the cake, he jokingly told our son off for stealing his cake, but he wasn't serious. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. The birthday cake was for your husband, not your son. If the timing wasn't going to work out, you could have just told your son he could have some of the cake tomorrow and given him another snack. If I were your husband, I would have been hurt. I suspect you did that because you were miffed your husband's meeting ran long and he missed the birthday dinner you planned for him. I get that. If he does that kind of thing often, you need to voice your frustration and let him know he's responsible for respecting your time and effort too. I read all this and thought, was the cake only edible for one day? All OP had to do was let son have the cake tomorrow. OP was clearly angry about her plans not being followed to a T on her husband's B-Day, so she came up with a reason to screw with him. He saw the cake. He jokingly told our son off for stealing his cake, but he wasn't being serious. Of course not. He knows you are the idiot and not your son. And this was a toddler's gift to his dad. What if he gives another kid a toy? Does he also get to play with it first? You have a lot to work on.